So, VATSIM versus IVAO. Today we are putting the big guns head to head, VATSIM versus IVAO, and we're going to answer the age-old question, which is the better network out of the two. To keep things as simple and easy as possible, we are going to be ranking each platform against the following criteria: coverage, realism, community, events, and the learning curve. And at the end of this video, you will leave being able to make an informed decision as to which platform you're going to be using to take your sim journey to that next level. So let's go ahead and start with coverage. If you want to log on at any time in the day and almost guarantee that there's going to be somebody on the frequency, then VATSIM is by far the network for you. Your big hubs, your small regional airports, your small fields in some cases are all covered around the world by the humongous player base of VATSIM of over 800,000 members, with 120,000 of these active in just the last month. With VATSIM, you get global coverage, you get consistent coverage, and when there is no coverage, you get a selection of pilots who know what they are doing, so that you're not compromising on realism just because there are no controllers actively online on the network. IVAO is unfortunately a different story. It is a significantly smaller network with only 250,000 registered members. They do have great coverage in certain places like South America, Europe, and the Middle East, but unfortunately, due to the small player base, there just aren't enough controllers to keep these positions staffed actively. So you are definitely missing out on ATC coverage if you choose IVAO over VATSIM. So for me, the winner of category 1 is VATSIM. Now, when it comes to category 2 and realism, we've already briefly touched on that just in the previous category there. VATSIM is by far the most realistic air traffic simulation network that you can get access to. IVAO is great, don't get me wrong, but with it being significantly easier to become a controller, some positions you don't even need to have completed training to staff. It just unfortunately can't touch the same level of realism as what VATSIM does. When it comes to training on VATSIM's side, the ATC training is probably the most in-depth training that I have personally seen on any air traffic simulation network, full stop. The detail that these guys go into is incredible, and a vast majority of people in high positions within controlling regions actually do this for real. And you'll find that again with pilots. You'll find a lot of pilots on the VATSIM network who actually do this for real, and they are real world commercial pilots, which you don't find as much on the IVAO network. When it comes to community, due to the larger size of the VATSIM network, you may find it slightly more difficult to meet people, if that is what you are going onto the VATSIM network for, to find like-minded aviation enthusiasts. You will find it very difficult to interact with other people on active frequencies because of the enforcements in place. Even on Unicom, no general chit-chat is allowed. The frequency is only used to report aircraft intentions. So if you are on the VATSIM network to meet like-minded individuals, then you will have to head into the direct messages section of the vPilot client. It is completely possible to do that, but with IVAO, where the rules are slightly more relaxed, you'd probably get away with it more so on IVAO than you would on VATSIM. When it comes to rules are equally enforced on the VATSIM and the IVAO network. You may find that you get away with more on the IVAO network purely because of the fact that there are less active members, so therefore there are less supervisors to catch you out, but the rules do still stand, and both IVAO and VATSIM have their own codes of conduct that users are expected to follow. Because of the nature of VATSIM, sometimes you may find that certain individuals who are either controlling or flying take it really, really seriously. So you may find it very difficult if you are going into the VATSIM network to essentially find a community of like-minded individuals. You may find that difficult because people take it so seriously, which is a good thing, obviously. The fact that they are so passionate about simulating aviation correctly as it is in real life. Now, don't get me wrong, the same can definitely be said about IVAO, but just not to the same extent as VATSIM from my experience. Now, when it comes to Category 4 and events, both networks have packed out event calendars. So it is actually very difficult to judge the networks on this category because of the fact that they are both pretty much in line with each other when it comes to events. You'll most likely find similar traffic levels when it comes to events on both IVAO and VATSIM, and that is why Category 4, I am going to be leaving it as a tie. Now, when it comes to Category 5, the final category, and the learning curve it takes to join and fly properly on either the VATSIM network or the IVAO network, you will find that both are obviously realistic simulations of aviation, and therefore the learning curve for both networks is going to be quite steep. And that is why when it comes to this category, we are only going to be able to rank each network on how easy it is to learn the same information. When it comes to VATSIM, there are thousands and thousands of video guides out there on how to fly on the network properly and all of the different things that you need to know in order to fly on the VATSIM network. But the one issue with that is that I have found from watching quite a few of these tutorial videos that they are generally fluff-filled, they are long, drawn out, and a lot of the things that are explained could very easily be explained in a much quicker and direct way. Don't get me wrong, these video tutorials are great, but from what I've seen, most people getting started on the VATSIM network actually find a vast majority of them quite confusing, and it's quite difficult because of how many video tutorials there are to find videos of decent quality which actually help you to carry out your first flight on the VATSIM network. VATSIM does have an in-depth knowledge base on their website which you can make use of, which is excellent, but again it suffers from the same issue, the fact that they are not clear enough, they are not direct enough, and they over explain simple concepts. IVAO also has an in-depth training documentation database as well as countless video tutorials on YouTube, but I digress. Here is the final scoreboard. When it comes to coverage, VATSIM takes the win. When it comes to realism, VATSIM again takes the win. Community, as we said before, it is a tie. Events, VATSIM takes the cake. And learning curve, VATSIM takes the cake as well because of how in-depth into procedure you are expected to go. And that is where VATSIM Mastery can help you. That is all for today. Safe flights as always, and I will see you in the next one.